Hi, my name's Dave and welcome to the MVC3 video series. In the first video today, Intro to MVC3, what we're going to do is talk about the tools you need for MVC, and then we're going to download those tools and we're going to create an MVC3 application and go over the three main components very quickly and the structure of the application, and then we will end it there. So the first thing you're going to want to do is bring up your browser, and then you're going to want to head over to microsoft.com/web/downloads. And once you go there, on the left hand side you'll see the Microsoft Web Platform Installer. So you can click download. It will take you over to another page. So click download it now, click run, let the application run, and then you'll have the Web Platform Installer installed. I have previously done that, so let's go to Programs and bring up the Microsoft Web Platform Installer. If you have user account control, remember to hit yes when it asks you that. I'm using Windows 7. So this is the Web Platform Installer. Actually, let's run it from scratch. I already had it up there. Make a little more sense. So the Web Platform Installer allows you to download Microsoft tools, so products and applications. So what we're going to want to do is go to Products. You can see there's lots of products unlisted here, and type in Visual Web, and you'll see a number of choices in here. So if you go down there a bit, you'll see Visual Web Developer Express 2010. So I've already installed it, but what you're going to want to do is click Add. When you click Add, when you click Add, you'll see that it'll come over here and say one item to be installed. So click Add, and what it will do under the items to be installed is it will show you that it's also going to install IES7 Express, ASP MVC, and it's going to install Microsoft SQL Server Express, which is the database. So add the Visual Web Developer Express, click Install, let it install, and once you do that, what you should have under your programs here is Microsoft Visual Studio Web Developer Express 2010. What I like to do is add this to the taskbar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, click on it, unpin it from the taskbar, and then pin it back to the taskbar, and you can see down at the bottom here, there it is. So let's start that up. Now if you're starting this up for the first time, it may take a little bit. It might not start up as fast as mine did. It's just configuring the application for first time use. So once you get it started up, let's open up a new project. So if everything installed correctly, you should have the choice to choose a web project in ASP MVC 3 web application. So choose that, and what we're going to want to do is call it My MVC Notes. Okay, so the name, the location is wherever you want to put it. Solution name is that. And create a directory for the solution. So this gives you an area to put more projects under that solution. Solution is an area that contains projects. So when you click OK to that, you have the choice of an empty template, an intranet application, or an intranet application. We're going to want to choose internet application because it comes with some of the account controller login and registration pieces that are a nice addition for free. We're going to want to use the Razor View Engine. Click OK, and it will now build your application. This again may take a little more time than mine. Just let it do its thing, and you'll see it at the bottom here, creating a project, and you'll see the information on the right here. So the first thing we want to do is go to Debug and build the project. If you didn't see that again, Debug, click Build. Now down in your output window, and if your output window doesn't show up, you can go over to View, Other Windows, and look for the output window in there. But it should show up at the bottom here with the error list and the Find Results window. So click on Build, and you'll see that the build should have succeeded. And then let's run the application. You'll see down here that the development server is starting up. Now there's two ways to run this, two ways to serve this up. One is through IIS and one is through the development server built into Visual Studio. We're going to use the development server. So you'll see there's your application. So the structure of your app is fairly simple. First run, you'll see it has a title. You'll see it has the title of the page. You'll see a little login at the top. And you'll see two menu buttons. So the first menu button is Home. The second one is About. Now, what MVC does that's different from WebForms development that you may have done is there's a routing engine behind the scenes here. And you'll notice that when I click the About, it goes up the top here, you'll see it goes to Home and About. But you don't see any .aspx beside it here. And if I type .aspx, you'll see that it can't find it. Because what it's doing is it's using this route here. This is the application, the location. This is the home controller and the about action. So that's the first thing to understand about MVC. Controllers have actions. Now let's show that. And it so happens that my home controller is open, but if you go to controllers here, click home, there's the controller. You can see that that's the home controller. It's of type controller. It has two actions, index and about. Now you're probably asking yourself, when I go to that menu and I highlight over it, the home and the about look slightly different. Now there's a reason for that. So let's just run the application again. Give it a sec to run. Let me just hit build here. Now it looked like what happened there is my web server got a little stuck, so I stopped it, hit build, and reran it. Now anytime you're doing software development, you're going to run into little issues every now and then. So just follow along with me when I run into those issues. I think it's good to show them. It'll help you out in the long run. So there's your application again. And when I highlight home, you notice down at the bottom left, right here, you'll see the route that it wants to take. In this case, it wants to go nowhere. In this case, it wants to go to home and the about. Now the reason for that is if we go down to the global ASAX, which is one of the first files that's run, what it does is it registers the routes, first of all. You can see here that under the routes.map_route, there's a default route. Now the default route looks for a controller and an action and then an ID if an ID is available. What will happen if there is nothing given is it will make its own default route. In this case, it makes it home and the action of index. And that's why when I click on home, it doesn't go anywhere. It automatically says I need to go to home, I need to go to index. So now, when I go into the controller, you'll see that there's an index route and an about route. And they both have pages which are displayed. Now those pages are views. So if I right-click on this, I can go to the view that it creates. Now when I go to the view that it creates, you'll see up here it's index.cshtml. Now that is a Razor view. So here's my view here. It has a title, it has a view bag, and it has some text below here. Now the view bag is, as you see, it says a dynamic web view page. So what it is a container for dynamic properties. If I say dot beside the view bag, you'll see nothing pops up. I can create any property I want to here, and then I can put information in it. So in my home controller, you can see that I've created a property, viewbag.message, and I want to display it on the screen. So what I want to display here, now if I want to change the controller of my application, because that's a compiled piece of the app, I have to stop it. So I want to say welcome to my notes application. Okay. And then I make that change. Now that view bag message is going to be placed on the view here under these tags. Let's make them bigger just to highlight it. Let's run the app again. And you'll see, oh, there's an error. See, I went to make it bigger, but I accidentally put in this value here. So because this is a view, I can just save this, bring it back up, rerun the application, and there it is. Welcome to my Notes app. I'm going to shut down this, see if it will let me. It won't, so I'm just going to close it there. Welcome to my Notes application. So let's go over the structure of the application first. So let's shut that down. Now, what you'll see over here in the Solution Explorer, and how you get to that if that's not up, is you go View, Other Windows, Solution Explorer. What you see in the Solution Explorer is a bunch of folders and different colors and that sort of thing. So what we'll do is we'll go through these real quick. So up at the top here, you can right-click and you can get information on the properties of your application. You can build it, clean it. The properties of the app will have in here the assembly name of the app, the namespace of the app, where things are located, what framework you're using. You can see the choices here, and other settings that you'd like to change on the application, the build settings, the web settings, and such. So the app also has that folder also contains the properties of the app. You can see the assembly titles and descriptions and those sort of things, trademarks and copyrights. The references of the application if you're using different DLLs, or you can see here they're all listed, the ones that are included and some that you've added. App data, if you have any app data that you want to contain. The content here contains the CSS file, which is the file that will make the changes so the views look different, you know, the colors and fonts and that sort of thing, links. You'll see the controllers contained in the controller area, and we just looked at the home controller. Models in the model area, we'll get to that later. Scripts here are, these are some of the tools that are included in the application. So you'll see jQuery is included with this app. This is where the views are contained. Now, remember that we said that the home controller had an about and an index view. But you can see the home controller is represented in the views under home, matches the home of the home controller, and the about and the index view are sitting there. You'll also see that there's a shared directory. Now the shared directory contains something called a layout.css.html. This is kind of like a master page if you've done web performance development. It'll show you, it gives references to the site.css and jQuery. It also has the name, MyMVC application. So MyMVC Notes application, because we'll eventually build a Notes application out of this. A logon partial, that's an HTML helper. We'll talk about that later. 2 action links, which are the menu, and a render body here, and a footer. So you'll also see if we continue going down here, let's close a few things, that the views have a web config and the application has a web config. So the web config, obviously, if you've done any web development, you'll see that it has things like connection strings, different assemblies that it's using. You can see here membership providers. So in web configs can get very large. And then you'll see the global ASAX, which we talked about was the first file that gets run. And you can see down here that the application start, which is where it registers everything, and it registers your routes in here. So let's end with that, and then next video we'll move on to the M part of the MVC. Thank you very much for your time, and have a nice day.